Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Doctor. My name is Nur Atrazika binti Muhammad Said and my matrix number is 264828. So this is the list of our team members. So today the four of us from group 2 are going to present the study on Porter 5 forces in City Coronary Syndrome Berhad. So this is the contents of our discussion today. The first one is backgrounds of the topics, introduction of the company, the objective of the study, literature review, methodology on how we do our research, findings that we got from the interview sessions, limitations when doing our research, recommendations, and also the conclusion. So the next one is the background of the topic. The topic that we choose is Porter's 5 forces. Actually, it was created since 1979 by M. Porter. There are 5 fundamental forces in this theory. The first one is the threat of new entrants. The second one is the bargaining power of supplies. The third one is bargaining power of buyers. The fourth one is the threat of substitute products or services. And the last one is the existing industry rivalry. So I will explain more on these fundamental forces in the next slide. So, there are 5 fundamental forces. Firstly, threat of new entrants. The greater the entrance barriers, the less danger established to a business. These new entrants have the potential to expand entire firm out of the market. If a business has strong and durable barriers to entry, they can preserve a favorable position and take fair advantage of it. Next is bargaining power of supplies. When a sector number of suppliers is small, the suppliers have a lot of price power over their clients. There are more authority since there are fewer of them. When a company has many suppliers, it will be a better position. The third one is bargaining power of buyers or consumers. The greater the bargaining power of firms' buyers, the greater the level of competition facing the firm and vice versa. Or we can say that where the lower bargaining power of firm consumers, the lower level of competition by the firm. Bargaining power of customers will be higher if there are low switching costs and if the products are not depreciated. The fourth one is rivalry among existing competitors. When many competitors are similar in size, power, and when the market developing slowly and the customer may be simply move to a competitor's product at little cost. So the rivalry is intense. Intense rivalry is more likely to engage in aggressive advertising and pricing wars. The last one is the threat of substitutes. Companies that manufacture goods or services with no comparable substitutes will have more flexibility to raise price and secure favorable conditions. So, the next one is the introduction of the company. City Laundry Syndrome Berhad is a private company in the fully laundry business. Laundry bar is a self-service laundry concept of the trademark under the City Laundry Syndrome Berhad. It was established and operated since 2013 and their main office is located in Kuala Lumpur. Time by time, their business until now have about 350 outlets operating within Malaysia. They act as an authorized distributor of Alliance Laundry System that produce laundry machines and equipment, and they become the first and number 1 agent for Southeast Asia. All companies across Southeast Asia can get the laundry machine produced by Alliance from City Laundry Syndrome Berhad. They also got KPDN HEP certified franchisor. The interesting part is they have their own in-house production where they produce their own chemicals such as detergent, softeners and sanitizer, and they distribute them to their outlets. The objective of this study is first to explain the concept of Porter 5 forces generally, basically the theory of scholars' opinion regarding to Porter 5 forces. The second one is to discuss any issue arise in Porter 5 forces, where the scholars discuss any issue in Porter 5 forces. Thirdly, to discuss the advantages and also disadvantages when implementing these Porter 5 forces. The next one is to discuss the implementation of Porter 5 forces in City Laundry Syndrome Berhad. Basically, we discuss on the findings of Porter 5 forces by City Laundry Syndrome Berhad. And the last one is to analyze the implementation of Porter 5 forces globally. So that's all from my part. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Navina Dhanasilan and today I would like to explain about the literature review. Our team too has researched on the topic of Porter 5 forces, and we also read a number of articles in Google Scholar that was published regarding this topic, and we have stated a few facts that we have read from the articles. First of all, Anders Koenig Hungenberg and Engelbert 2009 stated that Potter's five forces is a model for determining an industry's weakness and strength by identifying and analyzing five competitive that define every business. This Potter framework also empowers businesses to identify and analyze the industry's long-term profitability's most powerful driving forces. Next, Potter 2008 stated that to establish industry rivals, profit competition includes four important competitive forces, which is barrier to enter, buyer bargaining power, supplier bargaining power, and the threat of replacements. Due to the prolonged competition that comes from the five aspects, an industry structure and competitive activities are largely influenced by the resource. Baptista and Prito 2009 stated that these forces, as defined by the Potter, describes the level of competition in the companies operating. If additional competitors enter the market, this will increase competitive pressure, affecting prices. Thus, strategies will alter. Jared Hasty 2018 stated that in his article that small local market dynamics differ greatly from those of mass markets, and they have an impact on total small firm competitive behavior. Small businesses often depend on their competitiveness on client intimacy based on mutual trust, implying sensible behavior in local market setting. Narayanan and Baburaj 2016 stated that the five forces framework possessed a few issues such as distribution of profits within industry players are not explained since the framework assumes relative stability in the structural characteristics. Next, Jaradat 2013 said that dissimilar to SWOT analysis, a five forces analysis hardly be practiced by non-profit organizations because of the clear fact that the framework focuses on distinguishing competitor and competitions within the market, the risk from product replacement, as well as risk from supplier and consumers. Ural 2014 stated that nowadays regionally focused companies need to participate in a worldwide environment even if they do not produce goods for import and export. This is to enable a worldwide alliance and the purchase of products within the progressive or logistic distribution and communication. Grundy 2006 stated that techniques like Potter's five forces may be doomed to slip into the same lifestyle of maturity and decline as the actual business, except if the academic community is willing to rejuvenate old notions in an inventive fashion as recommended in the study. Fabian Dalkin 2014 stated that this model can be considered as outdated because the fundamental idea that each nine company operates in the network of buyers, suppliers, substitutes, new entrants, and competitors remain valid and useful. Goyal 2020 stated that the threat is different and depends on every company. The Potter's five forces of competitive advantage aim to explain how organizational can obtain competitive advantage in industry to which they belong. Isabel 2020 and Fabian Delkin 2014 views the exposure of the model to globalization that it can provide the positive impact for the organization and influence on practically every aspect of the firm and at every level of the product's lifestyle. Isabel 2020 also stated that the demand for the dimension derives from larger observation that organizations are now competing not only inside their own industry but also across industries. Dalkin 2014 stated that within the economic cycle, digital information has become highly significant. Porter sees information technology as a vehicle for putting strategy and initiative into action. Anchit Goyal 2020 stated that Porter's five forces is simple framework that only simplify the forces where there is not enough explanation to the practitioner of framework. Reckless 2001 stated that 5 force model might be beneficial for subsequent review of the new situation, but it is unlikely to provide much valuable recommendation on precautionary actions. Dobbs 2014 said that lack of depth is one of the majority of people only consider a basic knowledge of all forces and its application. Dagmar Reckless during 2009 Lab 1 also stated that this Porter 5 forces model has been harshly criticized, and the major problem derives from historical perspective in which it was created. It is stated that this model is best suited only to observe simple market structure. Lastly, Tony Grundy also listed out several limitations of Michael Porter's 5 forces model. One of them is that Porter 5 forces unable to connect directly to possible corrective action by the management. In addition, it encourages the mindset of industry as a separate entity with ongoing limits. This may be applicable now which industry boundaries appear to be much more interactive. Next, I would like to explain about methodology. So in our methodology, we collected data using primary data and secondary data. Primary data is an information gathered by researchers directly from main source. So our team, we interviewed Inche Hafiz, the sales manager of City Council Laundry Center Berhad, through real-time meeting by using Google Meet platform. The interview session was conducted on 7th May 2021 for about an hour from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Next, we also collected using secondary data, which is a data source that usually made readily available for public use. First, we used more than 15 published articles from different authors, and most of the articles we got from the Google Scholar. And also, we used their City Coin Laundry Center Berhad's own website to gain extra information regarding their company.
Good morning, doctor. My name is Supawadi Anapropan Sahat. My matrix number is 275571. Today, I'm going to present about our report findings. So, based on our first objective, we find that the entrepreneur can develop successful strategy for dealing with the threats from a variety of sources, whereas an entrance decision to enter the industry is influenced by the possibility of profit. In this finding, the operational approach of Porter 5 forces was used with the laundry bar industry. These 4 fundamental principles are: firstly, is focusing on customer rather than competitors is more vital. Secondly, fostering an intense passion for innovative way of operating and functioning. Thirdly, is commitment to high quality product and operational excellence. Lastly, is long-term perspective assessment and consideration. For the second objective, we find that 5 forces analysis is rarely used by non-profit organizations due to the fact that the framework focuses on identifying competitors and competitions within the market, product replacement risk and risk from suppliers and customers. Next, local small market dynamics differ significantly from those of global market, and they influence overall small firm competitive behavior. Another criticism of this model is that it is unsuitable for complex firms, which is nearly impossible to apply to most organizations with a large product portfolio or those operating in multiple industry and markets. Furthermore, since the Porter 5 forces existed in economy and was initially so successful, several attempts to apply it to a range of practical management problem or improve it further seems to be unsuccessful. In the third objective, we find that the advantages of implementing Porter 5 forces are: firstly, this method is allowing a company's attention to shift to its response to an exchange in the external environment. These Porter 5 forces are only focused for external environment instead of internal environment. Furthermore, in assessing industry attractiveness, Porter 5 forces model goes beyond a simpler focus on comparable market growth rates. The more competitive factors there are, the more difficult it will be for a firm to earn higher long-term profit. But when the forces are weak, the market can provide high profit. The Porter 5 forces framework is also linked to other models to contribute the understanding and utilization of dynamic digital marketplace, invariably result in globalization dynamics, allowing the firm to act on a greater global level. Lastly, emphasize the significance of findings for imperfect markets that give additional changes, since imperfect markets allow for supernormal profits, which are not possible in perfect competitions. Next is the disadvantages of Porter 5 forces. The disadvantages of this method is easily simplifies the forces in the industry, where the company should certainly know each force in detail. Other than that, lacking empirical evidence, Porter 5 forces is severely criticized and does not provide enough support to conclude the fully successful of the implementation of this approach. Next, unable to connect directly to possible corrective action by the management. If a company appears to have less influence over any of the 5 forces, how can it begin to deal? It also encourages the mindset of industry as a separate entity with ongoing limits. It does not include information technology aspect in the forces needed. This is because a loophole to this approach if the companies cannot generate their planning, because almost all companies involved in digital revolution and need IT as one of the forces to further make decision making with them. According to our finding on fourth objective is for competitive rivalry. City considering Berhad level of competition in the industry service laundry is high, since there are numerous laundries or competitors in one specific area. City considering Berhad detergent and softener are purchased from their supplier at the beginning of their laundry services. After a few years, they dedicate to create their own brand detergent and softener in order to save money. Despite the fact that there are many rivals in the Malaysian laundry service market, the company has more authority in determining prices and sustaining profits. When there are big numbers of direct competitors, City considering Berhad has an incentive to reduce prices and spend significant amounts of money on marketing in order to maintain its competitive position. As for threat of substitute products, City Coin Laundry during the earliest stage of operation, there are no other laundry service business near them. As for the detergent products, City Coin Laundry has become one of the biggest chemical producer, especially in fabric detergent, softener and fabric sanitizer that laundry usually use. Most of other laundry company will buy these chemical detergents from City Coin Champ because its quality and their chemical also get halal certificate. Besides that, their maintenance cost is also lower as they have the skilled technician and easy access to get new replacement parts of the machine. They manage to cut costs on chemical detergent and get lower laundry machine costs. The lower price of the product or service and the switching costs can also become the reason behind the threats. City Coin Laundry has a low threat of substitute products. The low threat of substitute products make City Coin Laundry more attractive and make rise in potential profit of the company. Next, the bargaining power of buyers of City Coin Sendirian Berhad is very less because the buyer have a very little contribution in dedicating the price and the demand of City Coin Sendirian Berhad business. Since the nature of City Coin Sendirian Berhad business is franchise business, the price of their self-service washing machine is standardized for all their franchises all over Malaysia. As for the threat of new entrants, there are barriers for City Coin Laundry when the company started to enter the business. Firstly was the customer acceptance for laundry industry. This is because most people are having their own washing machine at their home. People also tend to have their own perception, which is they feel the laundry is just for rich and high standard people. They overcome the issue by providing self-service laundry for lower price so that it is affordable for the public. Secondly is people culture, which they will not use self-service laundry because most households will wash their laundry on their own. Nowadays, most people are workaholic, so they tend to depend on self-service laundry because it will lessen their burden. This is what CityCoin wanted to change by providing the lower price for self-service laundry to lessen the burden of workaholic people. Lastly, for bargaining power of suppliers, City Coin Laundry Company fully uses its supplier to obtain detergents and softeners in the laundry outlets. Due to a limited number of suppliers, it has a more significant impact on the company because Citicoin does not have a range of choices for the supplier's product and pricing. After a few years of receiving the acceptance from the customers and gaining many franchise requests, Citicoin Laundry Bar decided to buy the whole company of its suppliers of detergent and softener. As the result, there is low in bargaining power of suppliers and power of buyer also will be low. When implementing a Porter 5 Forces buyer power industry analysis, low buyer bargaining power could lead to more appealing and increase the seller's profitability. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Intan Hafiza binti Ghazali, matric number 265096. I will continue the presentation about the findings in the implementation of Porter 5 Forces globally. The implication of Porter 5 Forces is still relevant not only in Malaysia but globally, as the general concept is still justifiable that every company operates in a connection of buyers, suppliers, substitutes and new entries. Porter 5 Forces are still relevant to be used even though we are thriving through the digitalization era and industrial revolution 4.0. This is because the global companies still compete with other companies to sustain themselves in their industries. The digitalization only changed the way of how companies communicate with the stakeholders and also the procedure of service or their product delivery. But the companies still have direct relationship with customers, competitors and their supplier. Therefore, the implication of Porter 5 Forces are still relevant and reliable to be implemented by the companies worldwide. Next, I will talk about limitation in our group project. The first limitation is the company that we ask for an interview is a service company. This shows a different result compared to a manufacturing company. Initially, we contact 3 companies to hold an interview with. One of the companies already declined the offer, but another 2 of them is yet to respond. Due to the time constraint, we have no choice but to go on with the service company who accepted our offer. The second limitation is the interviewee or the person that we interview work as an administration sales and he is only experienced in that field. So the information that we receive are limited. The third limitation is the interview was conducted by using an online platform which is Google Meet. This can be our limitation because interviews are usually conducted at the company's place. We are unable to see how the company runs its daily routine. Extracting more information regarding the company is more difficult if it will be conducted in online platform rather than a face-to-face interview session. The next part for my presentation is recommendation. The first recommendation is recommendation to the company. Even though the company has many outlets across the country, they need to conduct all the outlets registration in the headquarters or HQ. If many outlets have a problem at one time, there will be a delay for HQ to respond to their complaint. We suggest that the company need to add some branch office in every state such as Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu. The purpose is to help HQ to supervise the other outlets. Many clients prefer to deal with a local representative who can be reached out quickly. This can be helped the company to respond faster than before and operate more efficiently. Okay, next is recommendation to the first limitation, which is the limitation of choosing a service company which lacks details compared to if we can get the interview to a manufacturing company. We should use various communication ways such as emails and contacting the company using social media rather than just contacting using phone numbers. This can help in increasing our chance to be replied by the company. We also should start finding the companies earlier than we did so that we have more time to wait for the replies from the company. Next is the recommendation to the second limitation, which is about the person who we interview is an administration sales which limits our information to his field only. Maybe we can request a higher level manager to come forward to communicate with students like us. This is because higher level manager has more experience and full knowledge about the company. Or other way is we should interview several different person from different section in the company so that we can get more versatile and detailed informations. Okay, for the last recommendation is recommendation to the third limitation, which is about the online interview instead of face-to-face interview. Online interview leads to a connection problem, technical issue and also audio issue. We recommend in the future we can make a phone call interview rather than relying on internet-based interview. We can also send a representative from our team to go to the company. By doing so, we are able to see how the company runs its daily routine, and we also can get more important and solid informations. Next, we move to the last part, which is conclusion for our group project. In conclusion, Porter 5 forces is questionable in IR 4.0, but it is still relevant and applicable to be used by many companies in Malaysia. In fact, not only service-related companies, but also other sectors such as manufacturing companies can also apply this method in their strategic planning to achieve the sustainability of their products and being relevant to compete with other products in the competitive market. If one company adopts Porter 5 forces effectively, it will be a useful tool for them to improve their business strategy. In Citycoin Laundry shows that they have a strong competitive advantage. This is because Citycoin Laundry have a fewer threats of new entrants as the company grow bigger in the laundry sector. They also provide a franchise option named Laundry Bar to sustain their place in this industry. Porter 5 forces implementation will give the company a clearer sense on the competitive landscape of their customer and environment. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you.